Motivational Monday, everyone. Our subject is one that is very near and dear to me today. We are speaking about rejection, how to heal a wounded heart. This is a subject that is, as I said, very near to and dear to me because I've had to deal with this quite a bit in my life. So this is going to be a little personal, but I hope that it's one that will help you if you have any of those issues, or even if you know someone that may have issues with rejection. My issues, I feel, started when I was about 4 years old because at that time I was adopted. And my biological mom was willing to give me up for adoption, but my adoptive mom actually wanted a baby, which is understandable. But my mother would not give up her baby, but she gave up me. And there lies where the rejection started, because I even knew at that age that my mom was willing to give me up and my adopted mom really didn't want me. So that set me up in life for a whole lot of feelings of rejection. I don't know what your experience may have been, or where someone has shared their experience, but rejection always has a starting point. It could not be something as drastic as, say, that I think mine was, but it could be something very simple. Even as a child, feeling like, oh, I saw somebody go to the Olympics and I want to do that, and I want to be able to do that. And someone speaking death over your dream right then, and saying, no, baby, you're too old to start doing gymnastics, or I don't think you're built for that, or I don't have the money, whatever the case may be. The person may not mean anything negative by it, but it can break our little spirits, and it can last throughout our life. And we begin then to question lots of things, whether we can do this or do that, or when someone says no to us, we reject it, or we will reject people before they even reject us. That happens to me, or has happened to me in the past a whole lot. Is especially in relationships. I tend to already see what's going to be wrong. This is not right, blah, 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 blah. And my friends have said, oh, Renee, you're so picky and things like that, which that could be true. But a lot of it stems within that insecurity and the rejection. So I'm going to reject the person before they reject me. And so what I had to start working on myself with is dealing with the issue of rejecting. And I had to learn one major principle is, first of all, everything is not about me. And what I mean by that is sometimes we feel like somebody is rejecting us, or our idea, or our way of thinking. And it may not have anything to do with you personally. They're not rejecting you personally. It may not be a good idea for your company, or for your family, or for your life, or whatever the case may be. So it could not necessarily be a good idea, or it may not be a good timing, or they haven't had a chance to explain things to us, whatever the case may be. But when we start taking it personal, everything that someone does, then we can live in that rejection space and feel like, oh, they just don't like me, and oh, they're always talking about me, oh, and woe is me, woe is me. And it really did not have anything to do with you. Then another issue that can come out of rejection is in interpersonal relationships, where we feel like the person is rejecting us, maybe because you may not be their style of a person, or their flavor, I should say, of a person that they would like to date. But you take it as a personal insult of they don't like my color, or they don't like my height, or they think I'm too skinny or too fat, or whatever the case may be. And that may not be it at all. It could very well be that they're just not ready for that kind of a relationship at that time. Or as I said, you may not just be their flavor, and that's okay that everybody has a flavor. And so we can actually create our own rejection environment, and a lot of times we do. As I said, we reject others before they reject us. Then, as you have heard so many times, is what we think can actually become a self-fulfilling prophecy. So as a person thinks, they can become that. So you think that everybody is rejecting you, and so you get defensive and you get in a place of negativity. And it's because you actually created that truth for yourself, because your mind at that time is so toxic, and it has been, your heart has been broken, or whatever the case may be. And so you project that on everyone else, and it actually becomes a reality. And so then you're stuck in that place. I know for me, when I was going through high school and all of that, and I was dating or trying to date, and I felt like, well, they don't like me because at the time I was too skinny. I was very, very skinny, and not, one of those fly girls type thing. And I wasn't a cheerleader, and all those different kinds of things. And and I would be like, I want a boyfriend. I want this, this, and this. And one time, a girlfriend of mine, she was like, this one guy has been trying to talk to you. Can't you see it? And I was like, no, he's not. He's not interested in me. First of all, he was playing in a group, in this jazz group, and he was so popular and all this. So I'm thinking like, and he was fine too. And I was like, he's not interested. He says, why do you think he's always around us and he's always talking to you and asking you stuff? I thought, well, he's just around, and he's just, asking stuff because he doesn't know the answer. And that happened to me a lot in life. And because I lived in a place of rejection, I felt like, well, he wouldn't like me. Nobody does. And as a result, then I didn't have the boyfriends. And in the long run, that probably was the best. But I digress. But the thing was it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Even in my marriage, is I never ever could completely trust that this man really loved me and cared for me. And I was always concerned about what he was doing and what he was saying, anything, because I felt like he's not going to stay. He's not faithful. Men are all dogs, all that kind of thing. And whenever he proved that he was or had become that way, I was glad, because then it became, see, I already knew that already. I already knew. And the man may not have been quite as bad as I thought. So what can you do about those feelings of rejection and the self-fulfilling prophecies that seem to happen over and over in your life? First of all, you have to go back and deal with some of those first hurts and some of those first rejections. And as you've heard me say in the past, if at all possible, it always helps if you talk to the individual. Remember when I was 5 or 6 and I wanted to play the violin, and you said no, your chin was too long, or whatever the case may be. That it bothers me, and that has led me throughout my life to question myself and to feel rejection about everything and be afraid to try stuff for I'm feeling like the rejection may take place. And your parent or whoever it is can tell you at that time that, you know what, I am sorry for that. That is not what I meant at all. I just said that. And the real reason was I didn't have the money to buy you the violin, or I was dealing with my own stuff at that time, and I never should have put it off on you. Whatever the case may be, if at all possible, address it and see what that issue is. If it's not possible, then you have to understand the words that we have heard so much, that in spite of everything, all stuff still does work out for good. It really does. We can say, oh, this was so bad, this was so awful. But a lot of times, as we look back over our lives, we can say, yes, I'm sort of glad that that never did happen. Or even if it would have been great and good, the path that I'm on, or the path that I could be on, could be a great big blessing for me. So in thinking, oh, why did this and da da da, and living with that rejection of that, is take time to make peace with it. And when you do that, sometimes you may have to write the letters, or you may have to cry it out, or talk it out if possible with someone else, maybe not the person that initiated the rejection, but whatever you can do. And then it's important to move on from that point, especially in your mind. And that goes back to the point that I first made about everything is not about me. So when people reject my idea, or my way of thinking about a particular thing, or they don't give me the raise, or whatever the case may be, I can first evaluate and say, is this really just about me? Or was this person going to do this anyway? Or was going to be this way anyway? Or this was bound to happen at any point, and it just happened to happen with me. And deal with that. Everything is not about me. And with that, you have to remind yourself a lot. None of these things, you just do it once and then you're good for the rest of your life. It is a work in progress. Then the last thing is to meet people where they are. Don't always have your guard up. Expect good from people. People are a lot better than we think they are, and then they can be a lot worse than what we think that they are. But give everybody that chance. And if they do reject you, then you shake that off and you keep moving. And know that that is their issue and it's not yours. And you're not going to take it on yourself, and that all of this still can be for my good. It can turn out to be a positive, but I'm going to keep my mind in a positive path no matter what is going on around me. Then the last thing is, when you stop questioning the good that you are and the great person that you were created to be, all of the wonderful things that you are, you will find that you will quit attracting all of that negativity in your life. So not just not thinking about the negativity, but thinking about negative stuff, or people are saying there's things about you, but start thinking about those positive things that you bring and the good that you are, because everybody has good in them and everybody has a purpose in life. It all depends on your outlook toward things. Remember that statement that says, as you think, that's what you become. So when we start looking at the positives ourselves, that's when we can attract the positives in others. Yes, rejection is going to always be back there, but we can always push it away. We can always say, it's not about me. I'm not going to internalize those things. And I know what a good and great person I am. And I'm going to live in that goodness and greatness. As I said at the beginning, this was something that was very personal for me, and it's something that I've had to struggle with. But I can say today that I'm not that same person that I used to be, that rejected everything and thought that everybody was out to get me. And because of that, I'm a better person. And I know, because of your experiences and your going toward that positivity, you can be that best person that you were intended to be. Until next time, have a good Monday.